Hello there. Thank you for joining me on Running for Distance. I am Anthony, and I'm glad that you're here. So, in this particular episode, we're going to talk about some different running styles that you may find integrated within a running plan that you have chosen or a running plan that you have looked at, so that you become more familiar with them. So, it's not something that is new and something that is completely foreign to you. And so, I wanted to go ahead and show you some of the ones that have been a part of my running plans in the past. Here you'll see this was March of last year. I'm going to show you a couple different varieties here, and so this is the running plan that I had at the time in 2020 in March. As you can see, I generally have a rest day on Monday, and in most cases, either Thursday or Friday would become a rest day. Most of the time it's Friday, but in this particular plan, I had an optional rest day listed on Thursday. You'll notice I had a recovery run with strides, just some general running here with some strength workouts, recovery run and strides, precision core circuit training, and so this wasn't even running, it was lifting, core workout as well. Then another recovery run, and then on Saturday I had an endurance run. It was a 2-hour endurance run. Actually, no, it was supposed to be between a 60 and 90-minute endurance run. So as you can see, I have a couple of different types of runs in this particular plan. I've got the recovery run with the strides. I've got some general running. This wasn't a scheduled run. This was just something I did on my own in addition to the performance strength. Then I also just have the recovery run with no strides, then an endurance run. As I progress through my training plan, you'll notice, more endurance runs, more recovery runs, more endurance runs. Now, I wanted to go through some of this particular detail with you guys because, you may not know what these particular running styles are. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with, I'm going to give you just a real quick recap of what the different running styles that are mixed in my training plan, so that you have an idea of what to expect if you come across these in a training plan that you're looking for. We have the recovery run. The recovery run is a comfortable, barely above walking, breathing rate. When you're doing this, it's very easy for you to speak, and generally a recovery run is going to be something that you do within 24 hours of completing a key workout, something that has left you severely fatigued or exhausted, and that this follow-up run should usually be a recovery run. And it's only necessary if you run 4 times a week or more. And so for me, recovery runs are generally on a Tuesday and a Thursday, because I usually have a rest day on Monday and a rest day Friday. Generally, my long runs are on Saturday and Sunday, so I would have a recovery run following my long runs and a recovery run prior to the long runs. I generally will have recovery runs after a very hard workout. This will allow my body to acclimate and rest and heal up, and allow me to, get the rest that I need. Recovery runs on what we call the RPE scale, which is the rate of perceived exertion scale. Let me show you what that is. So as you can see, the RPE chart, the rate of perceived exertion. So when I talk about the RPE, this is the chart that we talk about. It's a scale of 1 to 10, and it will vary in the intensity of your workouts. So 1 is going to be very light activity. That's anything other than sleeping, watching TV, or riding in a car, or even as I'm sitting here doing this video, I'm at a 1 of perceived exertion. It's very light activity. It would be something other than me just sitting here, right? So if I'm walking around my house, if I'm outside picking up sticks or leaves or something like that, generally that would be a rate of perceived exertion of 1. 2 to 3 would be light activity. It feels like you can maintain this for hours on end. It's easy to breathe. You can carry on a conversation, and Most people feel like they can just go on forever at that particular rate of perceived exertion. 4 through 6 is going to be more moderate activity. It feels like you can exercise for hours. You're breathing heavily, but you can hold a short conversation. 7 through 8 is going to be more vigorous activity. This is on the verge of becoming uncomfortable. You become short of breath. You might be able to speak a sentence or two, but you're definitely feeling the effects of it, and it's a hard workout. And my workout last night was between a 7 and an 8, and it pushed me. I would not have been able to carry on a conversation with someone because I was focused on the workout that I was doing. Finally, 9 is a very hard activity. This is a very difficult to maintain exercise intensity. You generally cannot catch your breath. It's difficult to speak any words at all, and you're definitely feeling it. And then finally, a 10, max effort. You feel like it's impossible to keep going. You're completely out of breath. You're unable to talk. You may even feel like you're about to pass out. Okay, and those are the things. That's when you're giving 110% and you are just balls to the wall and you are just busting it, okay? And you don't feel like you can go anymore. So as I mentioned, for the recovery run, generally a 4 to 5 RPE, which is somewhat heavy to heavy, but it's, you're feeling pretty good. It's a moderate activity. It feels like you could do this for hours, but it's just above the walking, just above the breathing that you would experience when you're walking, going out for a nice brisk walk. It's just above that level for breathing. The next kind of run that you may see on a training plan, and as you saw on mine, is the endurance run. The endurance run is moderate breathing. It's not labored. It's generally between a 5 and a 6 on the RPE scale. This would be what I would consider conversational long distance running. You go out and run with a friend. You're running at a pretty good clip. It's good endurance running. It's a form of continuous running over distances of at least 3 kilometers, or for us that like to measure in mileage, right at about 2 miles. Physiologically, it is a large aerobic in nature exercise, and it requires stamina as well as mental strength. But many of you can go out and do these endurance runs for long extended periods of time, and it's a good exercise. Moderate breathing, you're pushing yourself, but you can still carry on a conversation with a running partner, and it's not going to be something that's going to completely destroy your legs. It's not going to completely destroy you in your training. The next one is one that was kind of new to me. It's called a steady state run. Now, the steady state run is on the higher end of the aerobic scale. It's generally a 7 on the RPE, deep labored breathing, and you can speak maybe 2 or 3 sentences. It's a continuous run at an easy to medium pace. It's not fast, but it's not slow. It's not hard, and but it's not easy. It's right in between that comfortable to uncomfortable phase, right? The run should at least be 25 minutes in length and can go up to an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, but you're starting to push yourself, and you're starting to get that deep labored breathing, and you can only get a couple sentences out at a time before you have to catch your breath. I don't see any of those on my training plan at the current moment, but those are ones that are out there. An SSR for short, a steady state run. Tempo runs. These are the ones that I'm most familiar with aside from endurance and recovery. Tempo runs are going to be a lactate threshold run. This is where you are on a scale of 8 to 9 on the RPE, deep and labored breathing. It's more elevated than the SSR. You might be able to get a 5 to 7 word sentence, and this is also known as a anaerobic lactic threshold run. It's at a pace of 25 to 30 seconds slower than your current 5K race pace, but it's definitely one that's going to push you. You are going to hurt when you do these runs, okay? Anytime you're busting out the lactic threshold, you are pushing yourself and you're going to feel it. It's a tempo run. You're running at a hard tempo. And then finally, the running intervals that include the VO2 max. It's at a 10 on the RPA scale. These are going to be ones where it's balls to the wall and you don't feel like you can continue. That's why they're short and rapid. Generally, you're only going to be able to spit out a couple single syllable words, and they may not be words that little children want to hear because it ultimately is going to suck. It's going to be short, intense efforts followed by equal or slightly longer recovery time. For example, last night I had VO2 max intervals of 3. Last night in my run, I had VO2 max intervals of 5 3-minute intervals followed by 3-minute recovery run sessions. And so that 3 minutes was as hard as I could go, and it was as hard of a perceived effort as I could do. My body was hurting. I couldn't hardly catch my breath, and I just pushed it, balls to the wall, as I would say. And that's one of those things. It's going to be short and rapid, like I said. It's going to be hard perceived effort. You want to make sure you have a warm-up to get your body warmed up prior to doing these intervals, and then followed by a good cool down. So my workout last night, it was a 20-minute warm-up. I did my VO2 max intervals, and then I followed it with a 20-minute cool down, and that allowed my body to warm up nicely. I hit the ground running. I did my intervals, and then I did a nice cool down. And you know what? I felt really good after the workout was done. I didn't feel like I was dead, but I knew that I was going to feel it today. And when I woke up this morning, my legs felt it. I knew I had worked myself over hard last night, and yeah, that was a good thing. That was a good kind of pain to experience. This particular training is going to increase your fitness levels faster than just about any other kind of running. Tempo run will also get you there. Strides will get you there as well. As you noticed in my previous training plan, I had strides mixed in with my different tempo runs. There's other types of running types that we're going to talk about at different times, things like hill repeats and fart-like running and things of that nature. But I wanted to cover some of the ones that were in my current training plan with you so that you can be on the lookout for these types of running styles or running kinds when you're looking for a training plan, or you have a running plan that your coach has designed for you to become more familiar with these particular running types. I hope this information was helpful for you, that you'll be able to take this information and apply it in your own training plans, that you would be able to take this information and maybe educate yourself, or just as a refresher, just like myself. Many of these are familiar to me, but it's always good to have a refresher to remind yourself what kind of workout you're getting ready to do. Guys, I appreciate you watching and listening in today. Hit that like button, drop me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe because more content's coming your way. But I want to thank you again for joining me on Running for Distance. This is Anthony. We will see you guys later. Have a great afternoon.